Hi, my name is Helen Ward. I'm the president of Kids First Parent Association of Canada, and I'd like to talk to you about some issues related to Bill C-35, which is a bill in our federal government to impose a national daycare system on our country through funding it permanently with billions and billions of dollars, even though the vast majority of parents don't want or use daycare centers and the vast majority of children are not in them. So I want to talk to you about the issue of quality. The bill promises a high quality daycare system. And you hear this phrase, high quality, routinely used in provincial, federal, and local politics. The federal government promises that this high quality system will give children the best start in life. So being in a daycare center will give your child the best start in life. So don't bother looking after them yourself because that won't be the best start in life, I suppose. Anyway, when they talk about high quality, we want to know, well, what do they actually mean? So let's look at that. So one aspect of quality that's absolutely key is ratios. Ratio means the number of children to the adult. Children are best cared for when they are attached to the people who care for them. Person or people who are caring for them are attached to the child is attached to them, and this attachment relationship means that the child's well-being and development will flow. So if you have too many children to look after, you can't really be attentive to their needs, their cues, their concerns, and even their basic physical sanitation is a very serious issue when you're talking about young children who can't monitor their feces, their urine, their spit, their mucus. They're not able to do that. You have to look after it for them. So I'm going to share a screen with you that has a document related to this. Okay. Okay. So this document is available online, but you won't find it easily. You have to dig deep to find it. It's put out by the Child Care Resource and Research Unit. Child Care Resource and Research Unit, that's a CRRU, is the premier daycare lobby organization in Canada. It's been long headed by Martha Friendly, who was a key voice in this whole promotion for 20, 30 years now. And it was put together with this thing called the European Commission Network on Childcare and other measures to reconcile the employment and family responsibilities of men and women, which is called the Child Care Network for short. The European Commission Child Care Network and the CRRU are responsible for this document. They're also very closely tied with the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the World Bank, and the World Economic Forum. So these targets, well, they're going to talk about, well, what is quality? So let's just read about that. A number of assumptions underlay the network's approach to quality. Here, quality is a relative concept based on values and beliefs. So quality is a relative concept. So there's no absolutes when it's a relative concept. You know, what's quality to me might not be quality to you. And it's all about your beliefs and your values. So it's not about absolute concerns like the irreducible needs of little children. Defining quality is a process, and this process is important in its own right, providing opportunities for adults to share, discuss, and understand values, ideas, knowledge, and experience. So basically, quality being a process rather than a fact is something that adults can discuss and get together with and have meetings and conferences about and get paid to do all that, get well paid to do all that, and not actually deal with the absolute irreducible needs of very young children. Okay, we're going to scroll down to one of their targets. So they've got a whole pile of targets. Ratios should be very at or near the top, but they don't put it near the top. It's target number, keep going here, 21. Okay, targets for staff-child ratios. So remember, these people are the ones who are designing our policies. They're the people in the back who are driving the agenda. So target 21, staff ratios for collective care, that means daycare centers, should reflect the objectives of the service and their wider context and be directly related to group age and group size. So it's about reflecting the objectives of the service and their wider context, rather than reflecting the irreducible needs of young children for attachment, for sanitary conditions, for relationship with the adults who are caring for them. So for children under 12 months, so that means children who are not yet 1. We have 1 adult to 4 children. So if you ever looked after a child that young, you know it's a lot of work to look after 1. 2 is very difficult. 3 is almost impossible. Anybody with triplets always has help. And you know, 4 is it's unsanitary. It's impossible. Now children 12 to 23 months. This is 1-year-old children who are 1 and not yet 2. 1 adult for 6 children. So 1 to 6 for 1-year-olds. This is mayhem. Children 24 to 35 months. So that's children who are 2 and not yet 3. 1 to 8. 1 adult for 8 2-year-olds. Just picture that if you're able to. I mean, these children at this age will bite. They can't control their bowels and all that very well at all. They need an adult engaging with them to learn language, to learn just basic behavioral cues and things. For children who are 36 to 71 months, so that means age 3 to under 6. So they're not yet 6. So 3, 4, and 5. 1 adult for 15 children. Now I should say that these ratios, these terrible ratios in this age group have actually been implemented and worse than that in Canada because of the all-day kindergarten programs. So kindergarten children in BC, they're 5, but they could be 4 if they're born later in the year. And in Ontario, you have in other provinces, you have junior kindergarten, so children could be as young as 3 and be in all-day kindergarten. And the ratios for kindergarten in BC are 1 to 22, and in Ontario, they don't actually have fixed ratios. So these ratios they're even worse than that already in Canada. The ratios in a family daycare, so in an in-home daycare, should not be less than 1 adult to 4 children under compulsory school age. So in Canada, compulsory school age is usually age 6, so maybe it might be 5 in some provinces. And the ratio should include the family daycare's own children. So if you have two kids, you can take 2 more. If you've got 3, you can take 1 more. If you've got 1, you could take 3 more. Now, depending on the age of the children, that's reasonable. But it might not be, because you certainly can't take 4 infants or 4 1-year-olds or 4. So anyway, you hear what I'm saying, that these ratios, that they don't want to talk about these numbers. They never talk about these numbers when they talk about quality. These are the brass tacks of quality. I'm going to just stop sharing the screen here, but we'll just remind you that this is from the Martha Prensley's Childcare Resource and Research Unit, premier daycare lobby organization in Canada. Much of this work was funded by your tax dollars. Okay, so stopping this share. So when the daycare lobby people talk about quality, what they might mean is trying to push is more schooling for daycare staff, or lunch rooms, staff room for the daycare workers, career opportunities for the daycare workers, so you're not just working with little kids who you don't really want to work with all the time for your whole career. Yeah, but we, as citizens of a free country, we need to be ensuring that our children have the best care that we can provide, and there's frankly lying to us. It's fraud to claim that one staff person can provide high quality care to 3 infants, let alone 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, or 7 or 8, whatever they're imagining. So just if you reflect on your own experience in contact with little children, if you ever have looked after very young children, babies, you'll know that these ratios are obscene, unhealthy, and should not be allowed. So we need to hold our government to account and call your MP, call your MLAs are related to this too, because it's a provincial federal agreement to do this national daycare plan under Bill C-35. So call your MP and just give us a simple message, Bill C-35, ask them to oppose it, to not vote for it. If they do vote for it, you will not vote for them. If their party votes for it, you will not vote for their party. This bill, if it was put to the vote today, it would pass because the majority of the MPs in Ottawa think this is a good idea. But it's not. And we need to tell them in no uncertain terms that we will not put up with this for our children and for the impact it will have on our society going down the road. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this was helpful. Talk to you again.